My name is Sally. I've been married for 18 years, blessed with 2 children, and have spent all my time indoors as a stay-at-home mom. I cook for my husband and spend my days as a mother for my kids. And I do the housework and take care of my in-laws for them. That was my life. Who would have thought, after all I've done for my husband and family, that such a betrayal was happening? I'm gonna marry my mistress. My husband, Simon, is a salaried worker, currently 47 years old. Our daughter is in her 2nd year of high school, and our son is in his 1st year of high school. Despite all the hardships I've endured for my husband, to hear him declare he has a mistress.
What did you just say?
I said I'm gonna marry her.
Why?
Such an unbelievable statement led to a silly question. So, I'm divorcing you. I'm gonna enjoy a newlywed life with her. So, take care of my parents and the cleaning, will you? I met Simon through a friend's introduction. He seemed so kind and family-oriented, the ideal man for me. I thought I could build a happy family if I married him. After the wedding, we enjoyed a modest honeymoon nearby. When we returned, our married life began in the apartment where my husband had lived. But, a week later, he made what seemed like a planned move.
Let's live with my parents.
Caught off guard, I couldn't muster a smile.
I didn't hear about this.
You would have objected if I told you, right? But, I'm an only child, so living with my parents is a must.
Then why have you been living alone all this time?
Living alone? Why would you think that?
Because this apartment you were living here by yourself, weren't you?
Yeah. This room was rented to deceive you.
Deceive?
Yeah, if I didn't do it this way, you'd know I live with my parents. Then you'd ask if we're going to live with them. Indeed, that makes sense. No woman would want to live with her in-laws right after getting married. So, I pretended to be living alone. I hardly ever stayed here, though. But I did all this because I really wanted to marry you. Simon smiled brightly and hugged me. It would be a lie to say I wasn't anxious at that moment. But thinking of the happiness ahead, I thought it was something I should endure. So, you really love me that much, huh? Yeah, of course. I convinced myself that everything would be fine and agreed to live with his parents. However, shortly after moving in, the talk turned to children. You should get pregnant within a year. And it better be a boy. We don't want a girl.
What?
I couldn't say it was impossible, being a new wife. Yet, I managed to get pregnant soon, thinking it would at least bring some peace. But when we found out it was a girl, I wondered how to explain it to my in-laws, but the due date came without them asking. Surely, once they saw the baby, they would find her adorable, even if she was a girl. That's what I thought. However, when the baby was born, my in-laws said, "We told you to have a boy. Girls are just a waste since they'll just be married off. Such a child is of no use to us," and refused to even hold her. Simon agreed, calling me incompetent for having a girl. Next time, have a boy. If it's not a boy, we're getting a divorce. As if making children, specifically boys, was solely a woman's job. If only it were that easy, but God hasn't made humans that capable. Still, I got pregnant again shortly after. Hoping this time it would be a boy, and it was a boy. Now I can finally feel at ease. I'll be accepted as part of the family. The kids will surely be doted on. But, coinciding with this time, my sister-in-law also gave birth. Then, my in-laws said, no matter how much we say they're our grandchildren, we naturally love our daughter's child more. After all, they're just the kids your wife bore. They didn't show any affection. Feeling this was too harsh, I sought my husband's help, but the response I got from him was unbelievable. You're the wife, so it can't be helped. Isn't that what being a wife is all about? Things got worse from there. Even on our children's birthdays, there was no celebration. I would buy a small cake and celebrate just the 3 of us. Yet, when my sister-in-law's child came over, my in-laws celebrated with them. Complete with a large cake and a chocolate plate with their name on it. I can't count how many times my kids have cried in frustration over this. I was the only one who went to their kindergarten and elementary school sports days. Yet, my husband and in-laws would go together to my sister-in-law's child's sports days. I made the lunch, and if it wasn't good enough, I'd get scolded later. It was as if they were accusing me of being mean. But it's not like I didn't feel any resentment. How could I not be angry at a husband who wouldn't rejoice in his own children's growth, but would rush to support my sister-in-law's child? My children turned out to be quite exceptional, seemingly not taking after my husband. While my sister-in-law's children went to tutoring but still failed to get into a high school, mine got in without any such assistance. That became my quiet pride. One day, during this ongoing situation, my father-in-law fell ill. After that, he became bedridden, and caregiving became my job. It was one hardship after another. No matter how tough it was, I couldn't complain and just kept enduring because, after all, we were family. Because he was my husband's father. And yet, without caring about my efforts, my husband was having an affair.
So, you're saying you were cheating?
It's not cheating. I'm serious about her. My husband said this without any sign of guilt. Just then, I heard my father-in-law's bell ring. See, Dad's calling. Go take care of him. I stood up shakily and went to his room, as usual, to change his diaper. My mother-in-law watched from the doorway. I appreciate it. Please take care of it. I can't stand the smell in that room anymore. Despite him being her husband, my mother-in-law acted as if caregiving was beneath her. No matter how much I did, my father-in-law never said thank you. What do these people think I am? Though I had thought of myself as merely a housekeeper, I still held on to the belief that having a husband meant something, despite deceiving myself. But even he betrayed me. Since the moment we got married, I was seen as nothing more than a housekeeper. And yet, I worked so hard. Like a clown. After taking care of my father-in-law and calming down, I returned to where my husband was. Thinking I would just let things slide without saying anything, he waited for me as if nothing had happened. But there, a divorce paper was prepared. All right, then sign this.
Wait a minute. If you don't explain properly, I can't sign it.
Huh? I've explained properly. I have a mistress. I'm gonna live with her, and we're getting a divorce. I'm counting on you to keep taking care of my parents. Well, that's the gist of it in bullet points.
When did this start? How long have you been seeing this mistress?
Let's see, about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, memories came flooding back. That was when my husband started coming home late. He'd say he was busy with work. And at other times, he'd complain about the kids going through a rebellious phase. After that, not only did he come home late, but there were also nights he didn't come home at all. The word affair started to creep into my mind, but I dismissed it, thinking, who would want to date a man in his 40s? Taking advantage of my silence, my husband's nights out increased, and he seemed to enjoy his days, while I felt like I was killing my emotions.
How old is she?
30. Young, huh? A big difference from you. Why would such a young woman want to be with my husband? It's unthinkable. Is she being deceived?
Aren't you being deceived?
She's not that kind of person. It's hopeless. He's too far gone, completely sunk in love. She loves me. She tells me she loves me. That's why I want to marry her. So we can have a happy married life together. My husband seemed happy talking about it, but it made me feel sick. It's like the man in front of me had turned into some unrecognizable monster. Understand? Now, sign it. You wouldn't want to stay married to a man who has a mistress, right? He's right. I have no desire to stay with such a scumbag. But I can't bring myself to sign the divorce papers. Why is that? Maybe it's my last act of defiance.
Why now? After 3 years of being together, why bring up divorce now?
To tell you the truth, I wanted to marry her much sooner. But there were the kids to think about. 3 years ago, the youngest was just entering middle school. So, I thought I'd wait until they were at least in high school.
So, it was patience.
Yeah, living with you was nothing but endurance for me. But you were always emotionless, like a robot, easy to mistake for a housekeeper, which, I guess, worked out in that respect. So, it was you all along. See? There's no need to keep up this housekeeper and husband act forever, right? Let's get divorced.
You seem happy about it.
Of course. Once you sign this, I'll be free. I've regretted not being able to remarry sooner because I was tied to you.
So you've regretted it?
I regret marrying you. It was a marriage based on deceit, yet I endured, telling myself not to divorce. And yet, you act as if you're the victim. You never even cared for the kids. My husband is pushing the pen towards me, urging me to write quickly. What if I don't write here? He would keep insisting. Hurry up and divorce. It's a painful thing for me too. But I'll be free from this. Fine, I'll divorce. But I'll be taking a fair amount for child support. Fine by me. If you'll divorce me, I don't care at all. I'll be leaving then. Huh? What are you talking about? I should be the one leaving. No, it's my line. I came into this family, so I should be the one to leave, right? If you leave, where will you live? Even if you go back to your family, your siblings are married, and it's not their place anymore. It'll just be awkward for you. It's better to stay here. What is he talking about? Why is he insisting I stay in this house? No, I'll leave. We're divorcing, so I'll be a stranger to your family. You're only thinking of yourself, but what about the kids? They've lived in this large house since birth, and now you want them to live in a cramped apartment? That's too cruel, isn't it? If it's too cruel, why bring up divorce after an affair? Isn't my husband the one not thinking of the kids? That's why I'm saying I'll leave. You wouldn't want to stay with an ex-husband, would you? I'm considering your feelings here. No, I agree I don't want to stay with an ex-husband, but it's odd to stay with your parents after we're divorced, right? If you leave, the kids will follow, right? That would be too sad for my mother. She'd be separated from her grandchildren. That's too cruel. If I leave, it's just my problem. So, I'm giving you the house. Huh? The house belongs to your parents, right? You can't just give it to me, can you? It's fine. I'll talk to Dad and Mom about it because they're getting old. And what about your parents? Of course, they'll live here. That's a given, right? What about the caregiving? That's on you. That's why I said you'll take care of the caregiving and cleaning. Oh, and could you cook too? Mom's getting old, and it'd be too much for her to handle Dad's care diet. No, thank you. I'll be leaving. No way. I won't allow you to leave. Why do I need your permission to do anything after we divorce? I should be free to do as I please. It doesn't work like that. If you leave, who will take care of Dad? Let your new wife do it. She's young, 30 years old, so caregiving should be no big deal for her. That's too cruel. Oh, so it's cruel for her to do it, but not for me? Of course. We didn't need caregiving when we first got married. We had our share of good times, didn't we? Did we ever have such a time? I don't remember any sweet times. All I remember is a tough start, being told to bear a son. And then being looked down upon for giving birth to a daughter. How hard that was. Sweet newlywed times, huh? There was nothing like that. You just forgot. I want to give her those times. Why not live with your parents? I was practically tricked into moving here right away, so it's the same thing, right? Plus, you could help with the caregiving. I can't do that. Why not? Because I want to enjoy my newlywed life with her. There it is, the truth. So, you want to keep me here as a caregiver? Huh? While you enjoy your happy times, I hope I'll take care of your parents until they're gone. No, that's not. I won't be fooled anymore. Maybe the younger me would have fallen for your sweet talk, not wanting to ruin what we had. But now, I have nothing left but the experiences you've given me. Did you really think I'd believe anything you say? No way.
But moving will cost money. You, a stay-at-home mom, don't have that kind of money. It's impossible. Renting an apartment costs tens of thousands of dollars.
I know. But I'll figure something out. No, the world isn't that kind. Think about the future. You can't afford to spend money on housing. I'm saying this out of kindness. Don't make the kids suffer. The one who's made them suffer is speaking, huh? Then, what about living expenses if we stay here? Living isn't just about having a house, right? If we stay, who will cover the living expenses? What about your parents' food and medical expenses? Will you pay for those? No, they have their pensions. It should be fine. Silly, a pension is a drop in the bucket. If that were enough, the elderly wouldn't be working past retirement age. Well, that might be true, but if you stay, the kids will stay too. They can continue living in a big house, and dad and mom won't have to be separated from their grandchildren. I'll get to live with her, and everyone will be happy, right? Everyone? Am I included in that everyone? It doesn't sound like it. You're just thinking of yourself as the victim. A victim? Isn't that what I am? My husband cheats, plans to remarry, our children were never cherished, and I've done all the caregiving alone. And just when I thought I could be free, you scheme again. If I'm not a victim, then what am I? Don't be so negative. Anyway, I'm leaving. If you leave, it'll just be dad and mom here. They're not my parents.
After all we've done for you?
What you've done is for yourself. If you stay, everyone will be happy.
I'm getting remarried.
My loud outburst brought my mother-in-law running, who glared at me.
What are you doing? Such disrespect towards your husband, that's the lowest for a wife.
See, I'm the lowest wife. You wouldn't want to be with someone like me, right? Mom, we've decided to divorce. Oh, is that so? Yeah, and I'll be leaving. I'll live with her.
What about dad's caregiving?
Sally will handle it, so it's all good.
Huh?
Yes. That'd be a relief. It'd be troublesome if we lost our housekeeper.
Joking, right? I'm leaving. You just made it clear, didn't you? I was nothing but a housekeeper to you. I have no intention of being a free housekeeper after divorce.
What are you saying? How dare you, as a wife?
That's why I'm divorcing. Once we divorce, we're not husband and wife, we're strangers. Since Simon is getting a new wife, please do as you please after that. I won't allow it.
Such a mother-like-son situation. Even if you don't allow it, once we're divorced, we're strangers.
If you're leaving, leave the grandchildren behind.
Why would I do that? The girl can be used for caregiving. The boy will earn a living later. We need both.
Children aren't tools. If you need someone for caregiving, use Simon. He's getting a young wife, so she should be capable enough for caregiving, right? A high school student might not be reliable enough for caregiving, don't you think? I refuse. I said I'm going to live with her.
So it's either Sally stays or the grandchildren stay here.
Devil. You can't seriously think that will work.
Don't worry, the kids will say they want to stay here.
Where does that confidence come from?
Well, we've been a family until now. You might have been a stranger, but those kids are family. Huh, is that so? Amazing, your selfishness. If the kids really say they want to stay, I won't object. But if they decide they want to leave this house with their own will, I'll take them with me.
What kind of woman are you?
The next day, I contacted my daughter and son, and we agreed to meet after school. Excited for our first outing as just the three of us in a long while. We decided to go to a newly opened cafe. The ambience was great. Inside, we engaged in light conversation before I broached the main topic. Actually, I've decided to get a divorce. The sudden news seemed to stun them momentarily. I expected confusion. But their response was surprisingly supportive.
I think it's good, Mom. You've worked hard. I agree. Yeah, me too. Dad must have crossed the line, huh?
Truly, my two public high school straight pass kids. Unsurprisingly supportive. Acknowledging the inevitability. And the real reason, asked my daughter, to whom I revealed Simon's plans to remarry his mistress.
Gross. Dad's an idiot for remarrying a 30-year-old woman? Well, if she's willing to do the caregiving, it's totally fine by me. She'll probably run away crying, though. Can't wait to see how it turns out. Anyway, we're with you, Mom. Even if life gets tough, we'll help out with part-time jobs. So, let's stick together. Empowered by my kids' robust support, I felt at ease. Really, after never being cherished by them, they think you'd stay for caregiving? Ridiculous. Right. Even the New Year's money was a joke. Never felt appreciated by the grandparents. Why would they think we'd work for them? Absurd.
Exactly. With no affection or gratitude shown, how could they expect us to serve them? Completely unfathomable. After discussing with my kids, I called home to inform them of our decision. My brother offered to let us stay with him until we found a place. Relieved about housing, I returned to the in-laws to pack. Upon my return, my mother-in-law, pretending to be concerned about our absence, confronted me.
Sally, where have you been? We were worried. There's dinner to prepare and Dad's diaper to change. You were nowhere to be found.
Concerned for yourself, weren't you?
Not at all. After yesterday's divorce talk, I was worried you'd taken the kids somewhere. That's what worried me.
So, you were planning to make me do the caregiving? Ridiculous.
I won't stay in this house to provide care. How can you say that? I refuse to stay and work for you all in this house. Even John agrees. You've been influenced by this woman.
Not influenced. We just don't like the idea. We're leaving.
Hey! How can you say that to Grandma? She's someone important who raised us.
The one who really raised us is Mom.
Grandpa and Grandma never did anything for us. The only thing they taught us is that the world is full of injustices. We learned that firsthand. And Dad. You were raised by them, but you're leaving them behind too? Aren't your actions contradicting your words? What? Talking back to your parents.
What parents?
Cheating with a younger woman and planning to remarry, dumping everything on Mom.
Disgusting.
I can't see such a person as a parent. What did you say?
Anyway, we're leaving.
We have to sort out our things, so move. You're just saying that because Mom told you to, right? That's why you're talking like this?
No, this is our decision.
We've seen Mom suffer all this time.
It's the natural choice, don't you think?
Fine. If you want to leave, then leave. But in return, I won't pay any child support.
Suit yourself.
Don't say things like that. Please.
Suddenly, my mother-in-law started begging.
I'm sorry, I beg you. It'll be trouble if Sally leaves. Who will take care of Dad? Leaving the two elderly behind is just too cruel. Please reconsider.
Seeing my mother-in-law begging, I thought the kids might waver, but they just laughed scornfully.
Thinking apologizing like that will make everything okay?
No way.
Grandma! What? Michelle, you'll stay, won't you? Wow, Grandma calling me for the first time ever.
Creepy Grandma, too late now, good luck.
What brats?
It's okay, Mom. No need for child support or property division.
If that's okay with you, then leave. Is that so?
Do as you please.
But we'll be hiring a lawyer. And we'll make sure to get everything we're entitled to. You think you can afford a lawyer? The moment you leave this house, you'll be struggling. How can you even afford that? Unfortunately for you, I just spoke to my brother, and he said I could come back home. He also promised to cover the lawyer's fees, so you don't have to worry. We'll make sure to get everything. And we'll be claiming alimony from your mistress too, so brace yourself for a gloomy future. Hey! I wasn't told about this. talk to our lawyer from now on. Let's get packing. Oh, and please have your kind and young wife take care of the caregiving.
After packing, we moved back to my family home. My brother and his wife welcomed us warmly. Thanks to their support, we quickly hired a lawyer and managed to get child support and property division settled in full. Simon's savings were wiped out as a result. We also claimed from his mistress, leaving Simon in a tough spot. But we managed to rent a flat early on. Simon, despite his drained savings, boasted it'd be okay since he was working. He moved into his mistress's flat, but caregiving proved too much for his mother alone. After constant complaints of pain, he and his new wife had to move in with his parents. However, the new wife, furious about not being informed, left within a month. Struggling to juggle work and caregiving, Simon eventually quit his job. Soon after, his finances plummeted, forcing him to sell the house at a loss, and even his application for welfare was denied. Working only at night while his parents slept, he became gaunt, a shadow of his former self. Meanwhile, I found a job through friends. Though living in a small flat, we're enjoying our days. This year, we plan to buy a whole cake and celebrate our children's birthdays as a family of 3.